Hi guys, it's April, and I want to talk Come Tumbling Down by Seanan McGuire. So this review will be done the same way I do all of my other reviews. I will have a non-spoiler section up front, followed by a spoiled-filled dump after that. But I will warn you that because this is the 5th book in the Wayward Children series, this will be spoilers for the first 4 novellas. So several days ago, I received an art copy from NetGalley of Come Tumbling Down by Seanan McGuire. This is a completely honest review. Receiving the art has not swayed my opinion in any way, shape, or fashion. But now I want to talk to you guys about it because I have some words. I will state it here and now that the Wayward Children series is by far one of my favorite novella series that has happened for the last I don't know how long, maybe my lifetime. Because McGuire has such a way of writing in children's fantasy and fairy tale in this dark, twisted, gothic type of fashion that I really have come to love. It reminds me so much of the original Grimm fairy tales. It's got that dark edge that's just wrapped up in all kinds of candy floss and other delicious treats. But this installment, the 5th installment, Come Tumbling Down, is a continuation of Jack and Jill's story. We met the twins back in Every Heart a Doorway, and then they got their own story told down among the sticks and bones. But here, in this installment, we go back to the moors because once again, things are not quite as they should be. This time around, some of the misfits from Eleanor West's School for Wayward Children are in the adventure with Jack. Jill has managed to switch bodies with Jack, and Jack is not having it. So she goes back to the school to ask for help, so the quest begins. Though one of the top rules by Miss West is no quest. But I have to say, I loved getting back into this world. I loved seeing this darkness, but this innocence that was wrapped up together that I don't know how McGuire does it, but she has a way of putting both of those together and playing off of how children grow up and perceive themselves and the lessons they learn and how they learn it in such a way that I feel so much like a kid again, and I understand the struggles and hardships that they're going through and the changes that they're dealing with, and I totally understand the desire for these children to go back through the doors that they've been kicked out of. I feel like this whole series plays off of growing up and how when we're little we have these great big huge imaginations and we see ourselves going through these worlds, but then as we grow older that just disappears a little bit and we have that strong desire to go back to that. But there's also littered throughout all of these novellas this very harsh reality of just wanting to be who you feel you are. Come Tumbling Down very much plays with that, with Jack not being in the body that she feels is her own. Even though she and her sister Jill are identical twins, the body just isn't right. Something is off and it needs to be fixed. And it doesn't hurt that all of this is set in this very gothic film noir style Frankenstein Dracula setting that I love so very much. The only gripe I really have is because it is a novella, there's so much more I want to delve into with these children and what's going on in their mind. It just feels like it flies by way too fast. But at the same time, because it is so short and it flies like that, it still feels like a children's book, but a very, very dark one. So if you've read all of the other Wayward Children's stories, I highly recommend that you continue on with this new installment. It is glorious. I love it so much. And this is the point in which I'm going to start talking about spoilers. So if you haven't read it and you don't want to spoil yourself and you want to go on the journey, I highly recommend you do. But then come back and we'll discuss and have words together because I really want to talk about this novella. I think the biggest thing coming out of this novella is the fact that it has installed this deep love for Sumi in a way that hasn't quite happened in the past. She has this nonsense, but it's such a knowledgeable nonsense that she is the one throughout this whole book that had those one-liners that just hit you in a gut in a way that you're like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be thinking thoughts like that, or maybe the world needs to listen to this girl way more often than it does. And I really like the Sumi character. I know we've already seen her world and had a lot of her story, but I do hope that she continues on hitting in these stories because I feel like the rest of these characters really need her in her life, because this time around when we're starting to deal with some of the other characters, especially Cora, I believe her name is Cora, the mermaid with legs, her character, I struggled with her at the beginning because she was just that character that was like, you should understand how awkward and not cool everybody else feels because you're going through the exact same thing. So why are you trying to talk everybody else out of all of these things and trying to pigeonhole all of the stuff don't understand that. But maybe if we get more of her story, we'll kind of understand why she is divided that way. And I feel like she came out of this adventure, especially after she dealt with going to the sea of the drowned gods and being pulled that direction, but understanding that that isn't her ultimate home and that's not where she really wants to be, even though she wants to really be there. Maybe she's shifting herself a little bit. I think most of all, I really want to get more of Christopher's story. Meeting his world would be fascinating. I very much get Tim Burton feel from him, and to see that played out with Seanan McGuire's words, I think will be truly, truly epic. That's kind of what I'm playing in my mind. But we'll see where this series goes. I'm super excited that this hasn't ended yet and we keep getting these little tiny snippets of all of these different worlds. I love it so very much. Tell me down below what your favorite book in this series is so far, which characters you've connected with, because I needs to know. And with that, if you'd like to keep up to date with all of the reviews I do, subscribe down below, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.